Finally, I've cleared this dungeon. Now I wonder if this chest is going to have a sword, or maybe a new shield, or it's going to be the beacon, isn't it? Oh, come on! Skyrim is home to many quests. Some are good, and some are, abysmal dog shit. But within each Elder Scroll game lies a group of these quests that lie leagues above the rest. The Daedric quests. Often cited as being some of the best in the series, these quests have you do the bidding of various Daedric lords and ladies, all for some of the best rewards in the entire game. But were they actually any good? Like, were the stories actually any good? How about the rewards themselves? Are they even worth it? Well, today, 14 years after release, I'm gonna answer that question. To begin with, this list is subjective. These are all my own opinions. So if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Each quest will be reviewed based on everything it encompasses. That includes the story, the things you do during the quest, the reward, but also like the implications outside of the quest itself. Also, I'm putting them on a tier list. Dude, it's a fucking YouTube video. What do you expect? So with that all the way, Skyrim. Meet the Sniffler. Take a wild swinging guess as to why he's named that. Anyways, dragon, speedrun skip, fail, Hadvar, binds, run through the intro, and leave Helgen. Now that we're free, our first stop is Falkreath. Upon entering Falkreath, you may pass by a graveyard and overhear a burial taking place. Speaking to one of the mourners reveals that it's their child, and she was brutally murdered by the man currently in prison. So logically, you run over to the prison and meet Sinding, the man responsible. He tells you that he didn't mean to do it, and it's this cursed ring's fault. Honestly, I feel for you, bro. I didn't mean to run over that family of four. It was my watch's fault. Anyways, he tells you that Hircine, the guy who gave him the ring, doesn't really fuck with him currently, and you need to kill this albino deer to make him happy. Sure, why not? Sinding gives you his fuck-ass ring, starts bumping some flyleaf, and goes alpha mode. Now, this ring is actually kind of cool. Once you get it, it auto-equips, and you can't take it off. Whilst equipped, it has a random chance to turn you into a werewolf. Quick note, this only happens if you already are a werewolf. If you're not, it literally does nothing, so kind of ass. You make your way over into the forest until you find the illustrious white deer, where you efficiently take it out. And Hircine then appears to you. He says something along the lines like,
"Yo, that was sick how you struggled to kill a deer. Anyways, you're my champion now. Kill Cindy."
and you head over to Bloated Man's Grotto. Okay, so outside of the quest, this dungeon's actually something completely different. It's got different enemies, different lighting, different everything. It's pretty cool and a pretty good way to reuse a pre-existing location, so thumbs up for that. Once you head in, you'll find some hunters and approach Sinding. Here you're given two options: abide by Hircine or help out Sinding. It's pretty cool to have two different options, especially in this scenario, because then you actually have some pretty varying outcomes. Helping Sinding sets him free and lets him live. Also, Hircine is surprisingly chill with this, because he killed a bunch of hunters? I don't know, but he removes the curse from the ring, so that's nice. Alternatively, if you just want to kill Sinding, you can do that, and then Hircine will call you a good boy and rewards you with the Savior's Hide. Okay, so there's two different rewards for this quest. First off, the Ring of Hircine removes the limitations of transforming into a werewolf for whenever that's useful, I guess. But hey, it's pretty unique. There's no other ring like it, and it's 100% on theme with the quest. Alternatively, you get the Savior's Hide, which gives you slight magic resistance and a huge poison resistance. And it's like an early game piece of armor. I think it has its own unique identity, and it's kind of good. Overall, the quest is engaging, memorable, and has like a somewhat interesting storyline. So I think it's pretty reasonably going to sit at B tier. When in Malacath, you can encounter this vigilant Stender who believes there's a Daedra in this house. Oh, also I streamed a portion of this video over my Twitch, so that's awful. You go in, shit starts to go awry, and items fly across the room. And the voice is like,
"Yo, this guy's weak. Fuck his shit up."
okay. With that all done, you head down to the basement to find Molag Bal's decrepit altar and a rusty mace. He then tells you to save this priest of Boethiah who's been leaving an upper deck of shits on his shrine. So, of course, you go do that. You go find the guy, Sheogorath the Willful, and convince him to let you free him. What a prick. You free him and he runs straight back to the abandoned house so he can lay another toilet snake on the shrine. You follow, he gets captured. Molag Bal tells you to beat the shit out of him with his feces mace. You kill him a couple times until eventually he yields. Molag Bal calls you a good boy and then fixes the mace, finishing the quest. The mace looks really cool with a very fitting design. The enchantment, although just being soul trap and stamina damage, is super on theme. It's also got pretty good damage, so if you want to use it during a playthrough, it's pretty viable. However, the quest is just kind of really bland, and it really feels like just a huge missed opportunity. They made a unique location, the abandoned house, just to then send you to a random camp where you spend most of the quest like fighting Forsworn. So yeah, I wish they really leaned more into the haunted house aspect. I think there's like so many more cool ideas you can do with that, instead of just go here, kill a thing, bring a guy back, kill him. So yeah, not the biggest fan of this quest, and I think it can very easily be placed in D tier. Malacath is home to not just one Daedric quest, but actually two. If you head towards the Hall of the Dead, you'll find a priest who's getting complaints about some funky shit going on inside of it. You have to check it out, and he lets you in. After some exploration, a voice will start speaking to you, saying,
Ooh, you hungry? You fat as fuck. I bet you eat a lot. Of people, specifically.
The voice reveals itself to be Ela, a worshipper of Namira, the Lady of Decay. She asks you to help her get back Reachcliff Cave, which has recently been overtaken by Draugr, and in exchange, she'll leave the Hole of the Dead. Upon saying yes, she heads over there, and you can tell Brother Verilus that the hole has been cleared. And he's super thankful and gives you this cute little amulet of RK. Thanks, man. You head down to the cave and you help Ela clean it out. It's pretty standard, but once you get to the final room, you see this giant sacrificial altar to Namira. Ela runs up to you and says,
Thanks for helping me clearing out this cave, but I'm kinda hungry. I could eat Brother Verilus.
What a twist. So now you must go over and convince poor Brother Verilus to be lured to his death. You tell him you need a priest of RK. He says, aight, and he heads over. When you return there, there's actually a whole bunch of NPCs from Malacath here. You got Hogni the Butcher here, the bloodiest meat in the Reach. Lisbeth, the store owner whose husband disappeared. I wonder what happened to him. Banning the war dog salesman. I wonder why the war dogs are so good at attacking humans. Oh, it's just like... so good. Anyways, Verilus is manipulated by Namira to lay on the sacrificial altar, and you're instructed to dig in. There's actually no animation to eating specifically Verilus. I don't know why. There's animations to eating people, but I don't fucking know. After this, you're rewarded with the Ring of Namira, a ring that lets you eat people's corpses. I mean, there's not much to say about it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's super cool. It's kind of like the Ring of Hircine, where it's like really on theme, but this time it's like incredibly cool because it's like its own unique thing. I really fuck with it. Overall, the story and the implications, I think, elevate this to like an amazingly cool level. The reward, although being incredibly niche, is super fun and very on theme. I think this is pretty handily in the A tier. Next up is a fan favorite, Sheogorath, and for good reason. When roaming the streets of Solitude, you may come along this insane dude, Dervinin, who's like, my master's a fuckwit. Here's some dude's pelvis bone. Check out this room in the Blue Palace and get my master back, okay? You head over to the Blue Palace, get a key to the Pelagius Win, and explore inside until... oh! After the most Bethesda transition of all time, we appear in some weird wonderland and find the one and only Sheogorath, who's currently talking to the crazed Pelagius. Talking to Sheogorath, who is wonderfully voiced by Wes Johnson.
How rude! Can't be bothered to host an old friend for a decade or two.
Will inform you that we're actually inside of Pelagius' mind. To get Sheogorath to leave Pelagius' mind, he tells us we're delving deep into his insecurities and cure them with the illustrious Wabbajack. From this point on, we can go around the world and delve into the psyche of Pelagius. The puzzles end up just being pretty simple, all except one of them is just use the Wabbajack on the bad thing, but that's kind of the point. The focus is more so on the story of this quest, which is fairly interesting, and it definitely helps having Sheogorath like commentate over everything as well. Upon curing the mind of Pelagius, Dervinin is reunited with his master and Sheogorath sends us on our ways, letting us keep the Wabbajack. I think this might actually be like one of my favorite Daedric artifacts. I mean, the random effect on each cast is like such a cool little feature, and the fact that it even has solid damage makes it surprisingly a good weapon. Overall, the quest is pretty good, if not somewhat basic, but the story's good and kind of everything surrounding it is also good. Also, Wabbajack. So I think this pretty handedly sits in the A tier. Next up for me, it's a bit of a disappointment. In Dawnstar, everyone is fucking geeked out of their gourd and can't sleep. I think this is a really cool introduction, like a wide-spreading effect that kind of forces you, but not directly, to participate in the quest. Definitely a really cool direction. Entering the local tavern, there is a priest of Mara, Erendur, who knows how to fix everyone's sleep issue. Now, this is kind of where I get a bit lost in the quest. You see, the story isn't really about Vaermina, but instead about Erendur. Now, this is a fine concept. It's just the fact that I don't think Erendur is really all that interesting. The story goes that the Skull of Corruption is giving everyone nightmares, and we have to navigate through this old ritual grounds to stop it. Erendur has some sort of relation to this, and they try to keep it vague, but then he immediately drops that he was a worshipper of Vaermina, which kind of like gets rid of the whole air of mystery. Anyways, after going back and forth through the dungeon about 50 times, and some story beats that I don't really care for, we reach the Inner Sanctum. Erendur then tries to break the Skull of Corruption, which is when Vaermina then tries to speak to you and says,
Hey, kill this guy.
You are then rewarded with the Skull of Corruption, a cool looking and named staff with a very boring but on theme enchantment. The staff does damage, but you can drain the dreams from sleeping people to power it up. Honestly, kind of a bit boring, especially since it has to compete with like the fucking Wabbajack. So, I mean, all things considered, this quest is going in like C tier, man. It's just, it works. It's okay, I guess. Next up is Azura. After hearing about the huge-ass shrine of Azura, you can head on over to it and meet a priestess who asks you to get Azura's star. You can talk to this guy, Malacath, who knows where the star is and tells you that his previous master, Malin, has been experimenting with it. You head over to Ilinalta's Deep, where it's located, and you make your way through a pretty basic dungeon and receive the star. Once you get the star, you can return it to the priestess, where she'll tell you that you need to enter the star and cleanse it of Malin, who's gotten himself stuck in it. This is pretty cool. Being put into a soul gem is a pretty unique concept, and the actual soul gem you go inside of is, definitely a soul gem. Upon killing Malin and cleansing the star, you get to keep it. Azura's star is like a must-have utility item. If you care about enchanting or charging items, this is the shit. It's pretty much a reusable grand soul gem. Simple, but like really good. Okay, but that's not it, right? If you've played through this quest, you know about this. Instead of taking the star back to the Shrine of Azura, you can actually take it back to Malacath, where pretty much the same stuff happens. The story's a little different, but you end up getting the black star instead, which is just like straight up better. Instead of capturing up the grand soul gems, you can capture up to black souls. I think it's supposed to be separate. Like you can even have up to a grand soul gem or only black souls. Yeah, no, they just didn't code it correctly. So it's just a black soul gem. Overall, the quest is kind of middle of the road, but the branching paths definitely make it a bit more unique than the others. And the reward is like an actual must-have. So B tier, I think it's pretty fair. After passing level 9, you can head over to this orc stronghold called and encounter a giant getting funky. After killing a giant, you can talk to a tube who's like, yo, our chief fucking sucks and we upset Malacath. Bring me some troll fat and a Daedra heart so I can summon him. Okay, random bullshit, a bit annoying. At least it's like somewhat on theme for like the summoning ritual stuff. You return with these items and then summon Malacath, who then tells Yamaz, the chief, to
nut up and solve the problem.
Yamaz is like, I don't know how.
Bro, just fucking kill the giant and get my hammer.
Do I have to do it? Bro, are you fucking stupid? This dude literally is you. I mean, Malacath. Anyways, Yamaz says he'll go to the grove and kill the giants, but you have to go with him because this dude's like a massive pussy. You head over there and you make your way through the dungeon, which is specifically made for this quest and surprisingly beautiful, before eventually finding the boss giant. But before you fight him, Yamaz offers you a deal. You can go kill the giant yourself and let Yamaz claim all of the fame, and it will just give you some gold. You can say no to this, which then leads to Yamaz trying to kill the giant. Or you can take him up on this deal, where, if you're successful, he'll just try to kill you anyways. Once you've killed Yamaz and gotten the hammer, you return the logo and place the hammer at the shrine where it becomes Volendrum, a huge fucking warhammer with a massive absorb stamina enchant on it. Pretty good and definitely very, orky. Kind of sounds a bit racist. But overall, it's fairly enjoyable and the reward is actually pretty decent. So, I think this is like an easy B tier. When entering Folk Reef after hitting level 10, a guard will approach you and say,
"What the dog doing?"
You can then go to the local blacksmith who says,
"What the dog?"
You then search for said dog and find out what he doing. The dog is in fact the ever-beloved Barbas, and he wants to be reunited with his master. You, of course, say yes. He then takes you to Hermaeus Shame, where you make your way through a vampire-filled cave and eventually reach a statue of Clavicus Vile. He thanks you for killing the vampires since they were wishing for an end to their vampirism, and, well, you gave him an end. Honestly, it's a fun little plot point. I like it quite a lot. You then try to reunite Barbas with him, and he's like, fucking no, Lamau, but I'll consider it if you get my rueful axe. You then head over to a cave near Solitude, kill the current owner of it, and retrieve the axe. This is actually one of the rewards. It's got a cool look to it, don't get me wrong, but it's so boring. Like a stamina damage enchant. Also, I'm pretty sure this thing's like actually broken. It swings so fucking slow. It's like half the speed of Volendrum. Anyways, you return the Clavicus and he's like, okay, I'll make you a deal. Kill Barbas with my axe and you get to keep it. Well, the axe is doo-doo feces, so yeah, I'm not gonna do that. And for that, he's a little bit upset, but then comes to his senses and gives you the Mask of Clavicus Vile, a huge upgrade over the axe. This helmet not only looks rad, but it's also strong and has like one of the most unique enchantments ever. I fucks with it. Overall, really fun quest. It's a bit back and forth, but the characters really elevate this to a new level. So I think it's pretty fair to put this also in A tier. Oh shit, you know what? I think I forgot to loot the chest in Hermaeus Shame. Alright, so let's go look at Yeah, it's about that time. Okay, I gotta talk about it, but I really messed with this intro. The first time this happened to me, it was like really cool. I saw some fuck-ass white shape in a chest. I'm like, okay, what is this? And then you pick it up and an angelic voice is like, "Rah, my fucking temple!" I actually think it's pretty fun and a unique way to start a quest. So, thumbs up from me. Anyways, after being lectured at by Meridia, you go to Mount Kilcreath. Upon arriving, she complains about the state of the place and then tells you to put the beacon in a little holder, where she then sends you to the sun to speak with you. She tells you that an evil-ass wizard is in this shit and fucking up her sword, Dawnbreaker. So of course, she shoots you back down to earth and you guide her light through the temple. The rest of this quest is pretty simple. You just guide a light through a dungeon, fight some like unique enemies until you eventually reach the inner sanctum and face Malkaran, the evil wizard residing in the place. And this fight is actually pretty cool. The guy has 2 phases in his boss fight, which there's not really many enemies that have this in this game, so definitely a plus. Anyways, once that's all cleared out, you can take Dawnbreaker and Meridia names you her champion. Dawnbreaker is like a super cool sword. It does some basic fire damage, but sometimes when you kill an undead enemy, they just explode. So, I like explosions. Overall, it's kind of middle of the road. There's not much to write about this quest. The intro's cool, the reward is cool, and the boss fight, but like everything in between is kind of like... So I think it's sitting in C tier. As much as I love Dawnbreaker, I think that's the only place it can be. All right, next quest. I'm going to hit you with a bit of a spoiler. This is it. This is the best quest. When at a tavern, you may encounter this guy, Sam, and he'll challenge you to a drinking competition. Already, this is a fucking really cool start. You accept the challenge, and as it goes on, you will eventually drink yourself silly and black out. Sometime later, you wake up with no memories of what happened, and in the Temple of Debella in Markov. There's an angry priestess here who's, well, angry at you, and she asks you to pick up all the shit you threw around. And after you clean up and apologize to the priestess, you ask, okay, what just happened? She says you came in, were a bit rowdy, and you mentioned some stuff about Rorikstead, and thusly, you head on over to Rorikstead. In Rorikstead, Farmer will approach you and call you a fuckwit. He also mentions that you stole his goat Glenda, and apparently sold her to a fucking giant. He offers to remind you more of what happened the night prior, if you get Glenda back. So, you head over to the giant you sold it to, who is named, no fucking joke, Grok. Hold on, his name is Grok? And steal the goat back. The farmer thanks you and then tells you that apparently you need to repay Ysolda in Whiterun. So you head over to Ysolda and ask her, what's going on? She mentions that the debt that you need to repay, you don't actually have to repay because you bought a wedding ring off of her and that you had found your true love. You offer to return the ring and she tells you that your spouse-to-be is in Witchmist Grove. Oh no. You head over and a fucking Hagraven comes up to you and asks you to continue the marriage. You call it off and ask for the ring back. She then becomes jealous and tries to kill you. You kill her first, get the ring back, and return the Ysolda. When she then mentions that the ceremony was to be held in a random vault called Morvenskar. In Morvenskar, you fight through a bunch of mages when a portal suddenly appears. You enter and can find Sam with this weird dinner forest thing, where he then reveals himself to actually be Sanguine, the Daedric Lord of Debauchery. He pats you on the back for being a good sport and sends you on your way with the Sanguine Rose. This staff looks really cool, and its enchantment is... I guess it's unique. It allows you to summon a Daedra, which can only usually be done with like conjuration spells, so nice to have it on the staff. Overall, the story is fun and even more funny. It's somewhat challenging and just a fantastic display of Sanguine. I really have no criticisms of this quest. Easily, this is S tier. Whilst adventuring through Skyrim, you may be approached by an afflicted who's like,
never buy no weed from the gas station, bro.
And then tells you to go to the Shrine of Peryite, which is a cool way to start a quest. But then all the coolness is immediately lost when you go to the Shrine of Peryite, who I should note is the Daedric Lord of Pestilence and Plague. Keep that in mind. And Kesh, a worshipper, sends you on a goose chase to get a death bell, vampire dust, a silver ingot, and a flawless ruby. Okay, a death bell I can get. You know, it's like it causes death, it's an ingredient. Vampire dust, hey, it's like vampirism is a disease. What the fuck does a silver ingot and a flawless ruby have anything to do with Peryite? So you can find these in the wild, but let's be real, you're just gonna go to a store, buy it all, and then just come back with it. It's like so annoying. Anyways, you then commune with Peryite, who's like, kill this priest, he doesn't worship me anymore. All right, fine, sure, why not? I'm not in the greatest mood, but hey, this dungeon could turn it all around. No! This dungeon is literally the most tedious fucking Dwemer I've ever been in. You go into like every single room in this dungeon 5 times each, and it takes like fucking 45 minutes to do, just to then kill one dude. Oh my god, dude, the dungeon's so bad. I completely forgot to talk about like the whole gimmick of this. The main enemies in here are a bunch of Bretons who got cursed with this vomiting attack. It's pretty cool, but you don't actually think about that because they make you fight like 100,000 fucking dwarven spiders. Okay, and then get this. After all that, you go back to Peryite and he rewards you with fucking Spellbreaker. What? What does Spellbreaker have to do with Peryite, man? It's like a clean white Dwemer shield that wards 50 damage. What does that have to do with Peryite? That's like completely devoid of anything he stands for. It's just such a huge disappointment. I was expecting something like Namira, like maybe an amulet that gives you the ability to do the vomiting attack they introduced. In conclusion, this quest fucking sucks, it's tedious, the reward is ass, and it's barely on theme. F tier. At least I didn't send you the Black Reach. Hermaeus Mora's quest isn't much better. On the outskirts of Winterhold, there are icebergs that you can go in and find Septimus Sigmus, who says,
The fucking cube! I want to go into the cube!
okay, Jesus, calm down, calm down.
Here's a smaller cube, fix it in Black Reach.
You've got to be kidding. Okay, quick pause. I'm not going to let this affect the rating, because this is kind of not the quest's fault, but the mainline quest's fault. The Daedric quest just kind of gets tacked onto the main quest line, which results in having to do this massive unrelated dungeon, but I mean, that's also pretty ass. Anyways, you do the whole Black Reach kerfuffle, transcribe the cube, and return to Septimus, who's like,
The cube blood! Now give me blood!
as you leave, you'll be confronted by Hermaeus Mora, who's like,
Hey, I'm smart. Fuck this guy.
okay.
You still gotta get the blood though.
God damn it. Now, this blood stuff seems cool at first, you know, it's like unique, but eventually you realize this is just another fetch quest, but instead of items, it's just dead NPCs. After getting all the blood, you return back to Sigma Bateman, or whatever his name is. He stabs himself and heads into the cube, where he then... You can then claim the reward, the Ogma Infinium. And Hermaeus Mora is like,
Yo, I'm still smart. You should read that book.
the Ogma Infinium, it's definitely unique, but like so boring. When you read it, you can increase each of the skill groups by 5 levels, and that's it. I mean, at least it's like on theme and it's not bad. Despite me ignoring the whole Black Reach part of this quest is still pretty lackluster, and I think it's pretty deserving of D tier. Okay, we're out of the trenches. Back to some of the better quests. After hitting level 20, you'll receive a pamphlet from a courier about a new museum opening up in Dawnstar. You can head over and find Silas, the owner of the museum. After talking to him, he'll invite you inside for a tour, and you can have a look around at some of the stuff, which is pretty cool. It's a bunch of callbacks to the story of Oblivion. Eventually, Silas will approach you with a proposition. He wants to reforge Mehrunes Razor. The parts are spread all over Skyrim. Oh my god, is this another fetch quest, bro? But don't worry, it's far better than the previous two. The shards are in an orc-controlled fort near Falkreath. The pommel is in a Forsworn outpost called Dead Crone's Rock, and the hilt is actually just in this dude Jorgen's house. Now, you can convince him to give you the keys to his house, or... Once you've gotten all 3 pieces, you can return to Silas, where he will bring all the pieces plus a scabbard to the shrine of Mehrunes Dagon. At the shrine, Silas will attempt to reforge the razor and fail. You then give it a try, where Mehrunes Dagon will then contact you and be like,
Fight to the death, Paul.
now, you can just like not do this, and Silas will pay you with, okay, just kill him, dude. After killing him, you can then reforge the razor and take it. Mehrunes Dagon will then summon some Daedra because, dude, he's a dick. Dude, the razor is an awesome weapon. Not only does it look rad, but it's also pretty strong. Its enchantment is like so unique. Every time you hit someone with the dagger, it has a very slight chance of just instantly killing them. Really strong and really fun to use. Overall, a decent quest. The fetching was at least somewhat unique, and the reward is pretty cool. I think B tier. Okay, this quest I'm gonna skim through really quickly. You'll see why. Y'all Bolgraf's kids are acting really weird, and one of them is particularly quirky. Talk to Bolgraf, he says the sun is freaky. Talk to the sun, he says, yep, I'm freaky, and there's a door that whispers. Go to the door, it whispers, big surprise. Door tells us to open it. Get the key, open the door, and voila, the ebony blade. And that's it, that's the quest. It's really quick, maybe like 3 minutes in length, but that's the point. The real adventure comes with the actual reward. At the beginning, it's okay. It absorbs some health on hit and does decent damage and goes pretty fast for a 2-handed sword, but you can upgrade it. And to do so, you gotta kill 10 people who consider you a friend. After upgrading it, it absorbs a lot more health. And without the need for a charge, this weapon becomes like really good. Unfortunately, there is, I believe, a glitch that makes it so that you can't actually upgrade it on a workbench. So its damage is always really low and it kind of just gets beaten out by better stuff later on. Honestly, this quest sets out to achieve a different approach to the format of Daedric quest, focusing more on the reward instead of the quest, and it does a pretty good service of that. I'm gonna be bold and actually put it an A tier. Here it is, this is it. This is the final quest, Boethiah. After hitting fucking level 30, you can hear about the Shrine of Boethiah. Heading up there will reveal a bunch of cultists fighting each other to the death. One of them will approach you and tell you that if you want to commune with Boethiah, you must bring a follower of your choosing up to the shrine and sacrifice them. This is like really fucking cool. It actually adds an exterior impact on the world around you and makes the decision a bit challenging. Unfortunately, Skyrim has like a billion different followers, so you can just grab like a random person and sacrifice them instead. After the sacrifice, are you fucking joking, dude? What? Boethiah is like,
Yo, what the fuck are you doing?
trying to appease you?
Really? And you did this? I don't know. How about you all just kill each other? The winner gets my favor.
Sweet. After killing everyone, Boethiah calls you a good little kid and asks you to kill her previous champion, who has her ebony mail, and is just twiddling his thumbs away in a random bandit camp. You head over there, kill everyone, and grab the ebony mail. Boethiah calls you a good boy one last time, and that's it. The ebony mail is a fantastically designed piece of armor. It merges combat and stealth really well, with it being heavy armor, but also enchanted with the muffle effect, makes it a stealth user's dream. Also, enemies who are close to you take 5 points of poison damage per second. So, if you're good enough, you can just sneak up to someone and poison them away until they die. I really like the initial concept here, the reward is cool, and overall just a great execution of the medium of Daedric quests. Easy A tier. Okay, I think that's it. I'm pretty happy with this list. Wrong! I am not happy with this list. Hi, editing Byxx here. Looking back at it, I think having Molag Bal and Hermaeus Mora both in D tier is a little unfair, so I'm gonna move Molag Bal up to C tier, because I feel like it's definitely on par with Vaermina and Meridia, and Hermaeus Mora is gonna be kept there. Also, I know I said I don't include Blackreach for Hermaeus Mora, but let's be real, I don't think that's gonna change the ranking either way. I mean, Hermaeus Mora's quest is definitely better than Peryite's, but 100% worse than everything else. Also, I should mention it here, I know Nocturnal is a Daedric lady, but I mean, she literally appears for 3 seconds in the Thieves Guild questline. And I know Hermaeus Mora plays a pretty big role in the Dragonborn DLC, but I mean, like, come on. That's not really a Daedric quest, that's just a quest with a Daedra in it, so yeah. I think overall, the Daedric quest, pretty good. They get this weird opportunity to explore Daedric lords that many other quests don't get the opportunity to, and they get to experiment about what a quest can be within the confines of Skyrim. Some do this better than others, but overall, I think it's an absolute blast to play through. But yeah, if you have your own opinions on these quests and you think I'm wrong, by all means, go into the comments and tell me about it. I would love to have a conversation about it. Anyways, that's all. Thank you so much for watching. Please sub for more. I have so many videos in the pipeline. Follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me record these live. And yeah.